Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. And once again, welcome back in the episode number. It's 37, right, Anna?
36. It's
36.
36.
Oh my God, 36, episode number 36, with In Unknown to None with Anna once again here. And hope you're doing good and well, everybody. Anna, how are you doing today?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Super excited to be here again at all. Thank you for this opportunity and looking forward to meet you all and share some of my knowledge.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So, Anna, last week when we discuss, definitely before we proceed for the session, let's take a 10-20 second pause, pray to God, and then we'll start. Okay. Okay. So I can see few of my friends has been joined. Hi Anish, hi Ishan. After a long time, Ishan, to see you back. And hi Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Good to see you all once again in the podcast. So Anna, last week when you and me connected for the podcast, you were very tense. It was your first podcast. How are you feeling today now?
I am less tense. However, I've been preparing for, if you ask me questions, tell me words with starting with letters. I've been revising dictionaries, vocabularies to make sure
Okay.
this was the hardest thing, but I have to
Okay.
say it really is a great icebreaker. If I need to use it, I'll take it and
This
use it. Yes, great.
this time the game is going to be changed.
Yeah. We're having again another
Yes.
oh
Okay.
dear, right. Well, I have a great support here, right, guys? If I
Definitely,
start.
yes. So I can see hi Dheeraj. Welcome. Okay, so just to be understand a little bit more, Anna. So last week when we connected, we discussed a lot about ServiceNow FinOps perspective. You give us a 3.5 strategy. You have the CCA module, source to pay. We have discussed. So today, what you're going to be do deep dive with us?
So today, what we're going to do, based on if you attended the last week's session, is great because it will be a continuation. If not, please watch the video after this call because it will start making more sense what we're doing. But essentially, we're taking what we learned last week, and we're starting focusing on one of these 3.5 right
Strategy.
cost optimization
Right.
initiatives.
Correct.
And yes, and FinOps is a huge one, and I'll tell you why. Again, we will start with the big, and then we go into the product.
So
Yes.
over to you now. You
All
can.
right.
Yep.
I hope everyone is ready to learn.
Okay.
Right. I have my cup of tea here in front of me. I will share my screen now.
No problem. Okay, Anna. Before you start,
Yeah,
let's have a game. Might be you can share the screen and we can have a game. Okay. What are your hobbies?
my hobbies. Okay, well, actually, there's a few. So,
Okay.
I fun fact about me, I am a former inline speed skater. So,
Oh,
yes, yes, and this is really interesting because it's not on ice. You skate on wheels, rollerblades. They call inlines. So, guys, this is interesting because I did some marathons, and you work in a team. And so, what actually very important is to learn how to work in the team. So, sports is a great, Ivan. Привет. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. So, sport is a great way to learn how to work in the team and also learn about endurance and general discipline. So it's whatever you do, if you start like running or playing badminton or even walking, uh, make sure that you do some different activities outside of work and maybe sports related because they teach you how to be patient and disciplined and yes, and also work in a team. So that you can then use this in at work.
wow, nice.
And then, yeah.
And when you started learning this inline skating, it's like a very old age or just recently you learned these things?
Oh no, actually I do it less now, but I
Mhm.
learned it a few years ago, actually more than 10 years ago. And the way I learned it is, I moved to London. I didn't know anyone, so I was looking for something to do. And in London, they have this community called London Friday Night Skate. So
Okay.
they skate as a group every Sunday and Friday. So I joined them. I didn't know how to skate at all, and
Mhm.
then I started learning, and then eventually I ended up attending like events and competitions. Yes.
Nice.
So it's, yeah.
Yep. So now, if you we have to be put this skating part with service now, specifically the FinOps, is this still you can say inline or it's like up and down, up and down, up and down? What do you think?
Well, what I think is that my like endurance skating really helped me when you go to events like knowledge, because there, whoever's been at knowledge or any service now, like forum or event, they know that you have to walk so much, right? It's like, especially if it's several day event, it's you need to be very physically strong because it's a lot of walking. Yes.
Yeah. Just you remind about the knowledge to be everybody who is on this call. If you are based out in London, so 11th of March, there's a in London, there's a AI summit organized by ServiceNow. That is mainly a customer event. You can register for yourself, and that event is happening on the multiple location across the world. And if you're based out in India, on 18th of March, this is going to be happen. The AI summit is going to be happen. So if you're lucky, please go and register yourself. Try to be attend that event and have a good networking. Good.
I'll
And
be there,
last,
by the way, so we
yeah,
can
sorry.
meet. Yes.
Yeah, okay. One more question. What is your best quote?
What is the what? Sorry.
Best quote, the best words you think.
Oh well, there is a few, but now I just, when you ask me this question, first thing that came into my mind is the only way out is through. So it's
Hmm,
like, guys, we need to push, right? And there's another one actually. If there is no way, I will make one.
beautiful. Yeah. And I guess
Yes.
this is what we as a community are doing here. We are coming together, we are sharing our knowledge, we are putting our perspective, we are putting our thoughts, and we're learning with each other definitely. So if there's no way, we'll make it together, guys.
Exactly. And Atul, you're making way for so many, people around the globe. So yes,
We, we are
it
we
is
are making
fantastic.
we are
Yes.
making the way. Not
Yes.
I only, we are making the way, and definitely we can make it. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So there are some inputs came by Ivan. Better start building your endurance early 3 days marathon. I'm sure Anna, you will be agree on this particular part. Good. So we'll come back on this part, Anna, once again. Now, what you bring today for us from a learning perspective?
Okay, I'll bring you some like theory, of course. I'll give
Mhm.
you some big picture, right? Why we want to do this, and this is for me super important to put things on a like higher level, so you guys understand why we going into this little nitty gritty, because it's all about understanding what the hell are you doing in this world, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll give you, because FinOps is a very FinOps is really close to my heart. I've been doing FinOps for a number of years already, even though it's quite new discipline. And so I will be sharing some tips, and it's based on my practice, right? And as we know, it's good to have theory, but
Mhm.
also to have practice
Okay.
joined together, and you have a perfect combination.
Over to you. Perfectly fine. You can share the screen and we can start now.
Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you so much. I will do so now.
And I'll pick up the question in between as well if somebody put, and we'll discuss on that part. Okay.
All right.
And also, Ishan, I'm 100% agree with you. The glory is in the struggle, and everybody is struggling and making the path for the success as well. Definitely, it's very, very true. And I'm so happy to be see you after a long time on the podcast.
All right. So, guys, please let me know if you
Yes,
can see my screen. I will hide this thing. See, I'm
please do.
learning fast. Last time I didn't hide. You asked me to do so. Okay.
Okay,
So,
good.
all right. And of course, let's keep this session interactive. And I don't see your question. So, Adul, you can maybe
I'll be
help me
there.
and stop. Yes, great. So, guys, today we're talking about FinOps on ServiceNow with Jeliqua. All right. So actually, before we start talking about FinOps, and believe me, this will make sense later on, I want to talk to you about this story. So, like adapting to new ways of living. So it's the story is inspired by my recent trip to Italy, actually. And imagine you are living in this beautiful countryside somewhere in Wales in the UK, right? It's green, it's beautiful, you're surrounded by valleys, right? But because you live in the countryside and it's in the UK, it rains a lot, right?
True.
And you have to get to your house through some muddy roads. So you drive 4x4, right? You need to have this like a big car, otherwise other cars will get stuck in the mud. So you drive in this big car from your house to work to school. That's how you live. And because there's rain so much in the UK, you then go on holiday, like what I did, and then you fall in love with this beautiful Italian Riviera, and then you see this beautiful town, and you decide to move there. And
Okay.
but because it's such an ancient town and it's built like centuries ago, the roads are so narrow there. So what basically you when you move there, you can no longer drive your this 4x4 car, right? Because it's massive, right? So the way you operate changed, and therefore you have to buy a small car, right? Because you have a home, but it's the surroundings that's changing. So you need to adapt to your new surroundings.
Right.
So when we think about, please remember, because this is all about FinOps is all about that, how you change the way you operate, right? Because you change your surroundings, let's say. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and I like to basically also give you some directions, depending on what kind of listener you are, right? If you're ServiceNow employee and ServiceNow or ServiceNow partner employee, please use this session. And I hope it will help you to differentiate yourself, or you will learn something new. So maybe you will go and start thinking about changes in your career. And also if you're working with some customers who, and you will later on I will explain you which products these are, you can start thinking about how you can help your customer, how you can drive value right on your project. And then a second sort of stream is where you may be working in a company that use public cloud or multi-cloud, right? You may have a ServiceNow platform. So how this knowledge that you received today, how it can help you to again make difference, positive change in your organization.
Mhm.
How think about, does your company have FinOps, right? And if they do, right, how they do this. And I hope this will help you to orient yourself in this session.
And just one thing, you are just going to the
Yeah.
previous slide. On the second side, employee company use public cloud. So is it actually matter to get this product that what type of cloud we have, or or like we just know that okay what type of cloud we have? It's a public or the private, the multi-way of cloud. Is it actually?
Well, yes. So here it can be hybrid cloud as well, right? And multi cloud in this particular instance is where you buy public cloud service from, let's say, Azure and AWS, because obviously there are several providers, and I'll explain why it is actually is relevant. Because you know basically when you have one cloud, the cloud provider provides you with some sort of insights, right? Analytics,
Okay.
right? But then when you start having several clouds, right, providers, then you need to consolidate your data, right? Because the vendor, like, you cannot, well, technically you can, but you cannot do insights of your Azure on AWS, right? In like analytics, right? You could possibly do, but they will not give you insights, right?
Got it.
Yes. All right. Great question, Atul. We
Thanks.
can save this one also. Maybe we can explore this later on.
Okay.
Okay, high level agenda, guys. We'll start with a little like small introduction, and then we'll go through, the flow will be like give you some reasoning of why companies choose public cloud, and then we'll look at the this $1 trillion problem, which FinOps is, really, of public cloud. Well, when we dive into FinOps, I'll actually use my experience and I'll walk you through the whole FinOps structure using my story. And then in the end, will there be 6 tips from experienced practitioner. So this is one is super critical, because when you do FinOps, you're doing it or you're about to start, like, believe me, you'll be overwhelmed with everything. So this is going to help you to, start looking into very critical points and start making changes or a difference immediately.
Okay.
All right. So those who have not met me before, hi, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Anna Kurapina. So I've built a Deliquo company that's been running since 2017. But last year, end of the year, I joined ServiceNow ecosystem. So now, together with ServiceNow and ServiceNow products, I'm driving the spend governance workflow and spend optimization. And this particularly is FinOps, Source to Pay, and Contract Management Pro. So I worked in various positions in the past. So I worked on the finance side. I also worked on IT side, driving different cost optimization initiatives. So I actually know how it feels to be on the finance side and IT. And I also have spent a few years working with data and analytics solutions. So I have a very big focus on the data quality, and general data solution architectures. All right. So some accounts I worked on. All right. So why companies choose to invest in public cloud, right? And if you look about, like, maybe 2017, I was working for one financial services organization, and they were interested in going into public cloud, but they were very wary. They wasn't sure about data safety, all this security. But ultimately, the world is moving, and companies finding that, well, public cloud infrastructure is great, because you can pay for what you use, and it is quite transparent, right? And for example, your phone, right? You pay for the number of gigabytes or like data that you've consumed, right? So that's basically supposed to be very efficient, right, and very cost effective. So it's very attractive, you things, right? Then obviously it's really easy to scale, right? And you can basically look at your set up your account in a second, really. So companies see this being an advantage, because you can be more agile, right? And you can spin something up very easily, and also you can shut it down very easily, right? So
Okay.
that's this dynamic and dynamism really is really attractive. And in the today's modern world, where companies are looking to be very agile, right? And of course, like, as I said, like, it's very easy to deploy, and and it's very also safe, and there's other benefits. But ultimately, the reason I picked this four and I highlighted them in green, because this is like, as easy as it sounds, these are the type of things that also can become a car crash when you run public cloud. And we will talk about this, right? Because essentially, because it's so easy to create a new account, right, and use it and scale it. Basically, you may lose track of or control of what you're paying for, right?
Right.
And so that is one of the risks that we FinOps is looking to address, right? So yes, let's pause and let's move on, and then it will I'll tell you more about that.
Sure.
At the moment, do you have any questions?
No, I think the comparison is definitely required. But now I want to be understand that how this CCM module or the CCM product can help us to make it possible for me. Because moving from on-premises to public can be a risk. The data can be accessible, definitely, and plus benefits are that it's easy to maintain because you're not going to maintain it. So need to be
Yes.
understand how this product is going to be help us to make a decision.
Yes. So something that I want to I would like to like put one thought in your in your mind at the moment, is
Mhm.
that because we are moving to public cloud, we are becoming very dynamic, right?
True.
It's like everything is changing every like hour, right? You or like every day you can procure, or your engineer can spin up an instance, right? How like management of that, right,
Mhm.
becomes very relevant, right? And
Okay.
management from your resource side, but also cost. So
Okay.
this is yes, and the governance, those three things.
Okay. Correct.
Okay. So again, why it's relevant, why you should be interested in this topic, right? So I was reading, researching online, and Gartner, and Gartner is like the god of, or Gartner and Forrester, the gods
Yeah.
of the whole like technology consulting, right?
Right.
If you don't read Gartner, please go and start reading. There's a lot of free resources online, and so what their projection is that the public cloud services is going to cost in 2025 like 723 billion dollars. So it's
Mhm.
essentially 1 trillion. So what you can see here is the chart. So basically what I want you to take away from this chart is that the spend is growing. And remember, I told you about this
Right.
2017 year, like when some companies were still going, like they were not super interested in public cloud. Even those companies now went on cloud, right? And you can see it's like this is gonna grow even higher. And guess what is driving this insane cloud usage?
Right.
I'll pause. Anyone, if you know, or if you want to put your guess in the comments, please do. Anyone? What's driving public cloud costs or usage?
I guess it can be little confidential, so people will not tell about the cost.
No, 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 no. It's not so. Believe me, it's not rocket science. Gen AI and agentic AI is driving public cloud usage.
Oh,
It's one of the key drivers, right?
okay.
And this is basically, it's been confirmed, right? And companies, even smaller companies, right?
Mhm.
Before we would think about like companies with like 1 billion like budget, IT budget, like global organizations, they would have like $30 million dollar cloud, public cloud budget per year.
Mhm.
Now you have a smaller software companies like SaaS companies who are developing different Gen AI and agentic AI
Mhm.
products,
Mhm.
platforms, and they, even though they're small in size, but their resources, the cost of public cloud is going through the roof. So
Mhm.
now you do not need to be a huge company to have a big public cloud spend, right?
Mhm.
And another thing, like we would also seeing is that, right, companies, they are opening up to public cloud, and they now accept it as a safe technology, right? Infrastructure. So 90% of organizations will adopt hybrid cloud through 2027, right? And of course, there will be some on-premise infrastructure because of legacy systems, right? Some systems cannot be moved to public cloud easily. So there will be always a mix, but ultimately public cloud is growing. And while we are talking about spend this session, but in public cloud, you also want to talk about green ops, right? And
Oh, yes.
write it down, please. And because with all this spend comes also energy, right? Consumption, and this is also a big topic for organizations, especially if they want to be sustainable, right?
Okay. So,
Okay.
and
Yes.
when you say it's a green ops, you are referring to the sustainability way to make sure these products or these
Yes.
tools should be used in a way that it can be sustained, no or less impact on the environment, on the human being, on the health, on social society as well, right?
Precisely. And actually, I will, we're not going to talk about it. Like when you start talking about something, there is like so many paths
Yes.
you can take. But also, you can make a note. There is a module in ServiceNow ecosystem. It's called ESG IT, right? And there is in my previous slide, and I can put it in a chat later, or I can share with you guys or contact me. There is a company called sustainablet.org.
Okay.
I really advise you to join that community. I joined it. Dilico is a member because it's a non-profit organization who
Right.
are looking at the sustainable part of sustainability part of the technology in general. But
Okay.
yes, it's like how much your service, how much the energy, right, the CO2, the service providers generate, right? So that's the question. And
Okay.
when you optimize your cloud, right, and we'll talk about cost, because first thing that people care about is the, oh, so expensive, right? You saw this cost going up. But also with every optimization that you make, right, on public cloud, you also, because you're shutting something down, I'll tell you later, but right, you will also use less resources. It will cost you
Mhm.
less, and also you're alongside optimizing and you becoming greener. So there's two really reasons to optimize. Yes.
Okay. Just one more thing, which a question put by Jad is that which sectors, in your opinion, are likely to move to the public cloud?
Well, like I'd say, most sectors have moved, like financial services, like insurance, for example. They are, they're very, they were very protective, right? They're very, they have a lot of data, or even, life sciences and healthcare, right? This
Right.
type of organizations, right? Obviously, yeah, they're all moving. Public sector, Jerry, this is what maybe you can tell us, right? What is the appetite? And because some organizations, they still use private or they on premise, right? So I guess it's a hybrid. But I would like to maybe look into the public sector, because yes, where they are with their, but they've already used SaaS, right? Some SaaS applications. So yes, they are kind of semi cloud, right? Or they go in that direction.
Okay.
And another thing here also to address, when you're in the cloud or public cloud, you can choose the, where region you want to, where you want to procure your resources. So, and actually I was in the AWS conference this week, and
Okay.
what they were telling that, of course, Anna, like if your company is very, you can buy compute and resources in any location. This is another advantage, right? If you can you can host your resources in the UK,
Mhm.
right? You can host your resources in Germany, and that has benefits of privacy, security, right? Your data will not leave EU, or it will not leave UK. Now we are separate, right? So there are different restrictions on how data can travel.
Right.
Okay, and also it gives you benefit if you are, if you're, let's say, a commerce company, right, and you want to have a very high latency, or like what's the more faster and efficient service, right? So it doesn't delay or something. So you want to locate your infrastructure closer to your public, right? So everything is just moving faster, right? And there is no delays. So
Okay.
that's what.
Got it.
Okay, I will move on to the next slide then.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay, so again, I will ask you this question. How many of you are familiar with FinOps in general? And have you seen this table or slide before?
No, at least not me.
Okay, which is good, right? It's you're definitely learning something new today. So, guys, this is like I would say the if you want to learn FinOps, right, and you need to like, okay, how am I doing FinOps and something? This is the slide that you must save, right, and
Mhm.
study, because essentially what it gives you it gives you a framework of how FinOps operates. And FinOps Foundation, who published this diagram or deck slide, it's a non-profit organization called FinOps Foundation, right? You can search online, right? There is a lot of free resources, and they're essentially a group of practitioners who got together and they started, bringing or like started building a block by block how FinOps should operate.
Okay.
And basically, if you ask me what FinOps is, I'll tell you that, and this is like you see here, I will read it out. So FinOps is an operational framework and cultural practice. And look, here you see, they don't talk about technology at all. They call about culture and operations, right? So
Mm.
this practice, which maximizes the business value of cloud, right? And
Right.
also think about that, and enables timely data-driven decision making. Remember, we talked about this easy to configure, easy to scale, right? So you need to have timely data-driven decision making and create financial accountability throughout collaboration, really important, right, between engineering, finance, and business teams. So,
But not the technology.
well, technology engineering, what I mean here, right?
Okay.
So basically, what is really important to think about is that if you are considering learning about FinOps, you do not necessarily have to have a very technical background. And for example, the projects that I worked on, I'm not a developer by all means.
Mhm.
I But I understand and I know how each team work, right? And then I know how to bring them together, right? Because in FinOps, you will see, right, and here at the bottom left corner, right, where you have core personas,
Okay.
this is basically what they say in this slide, is that this is the type of people you will be working, right, in your FinOps practice, right? And um, and we will talk about the engagement between these roles, right? And we'll talk about where the cloud cost management tool, right, from ServiceNow goes in. But essentially, the way I'd like you to interpret this diagram is that at the bottom left corner, you have this key personas who have to be engaged in FinOps framework, right? Then allied personas is next to it. Is the people you will be talking to regularly, right? Those are your finance, IT finance people, your sustainability people, right? We talked about a little bit about green ops, right? And of course, item, right? And cloud cost management is a child of item, right? Or
Mhm.
now it's called enterprise asset management, right? And then moving on, you have these phases. So phases is, again, we'll talk about that. What phase mean is that in FinOps, you'll be going through various like stages of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Right. Then you'll be like orienting yourself. Then you'll be like, right now I know what I do, what I look at. Then I need to optimize my, estate. And then you like, okay, I've identified it, I've optimized it, now I can run it, right? So it's basically you go through stages and then takes us to maturity, right? So as with everything, your data quality maturity, your process maturity, you need to be mindful of that when you start building your FinOps framework. And on the left, principles, basically, I'll let you read it your time, but it's basically talks to you about like the philosophy of FinOps, right? And it's all about collaboration. It's all about everyone like working in a group. You're never alone, right? And it's like you always centralize in this because it's a very collaborative actually capability, if I dare to say that.
Mm.
And then domains and capabilities, essentially this is what you're doing, right, as a FinOps person or the lead or the office. This is what type of things you should be looking at doing to be to run at full capacity, basically.
Yep.
Do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I think if by seeing this particular framework, definitely like we say, agile is a methodology or a framework, ITIL is a framework. In the same manner, FinOps as a framework, which again follow the same lines: crawl, walk, run, fly, and have a processes, have a people on the place. This is what Jerry also says on the same lines, that process, people, and technology are the one core area to make any framework better. And this is what we can see here. Good.
Yes.
Any question from anybody else from the audience side? We can pick it up now. Okay, there's a one question. Would love to be know the life cycle of a FinOps engagement with any experience or the example.
Okay. Yes. And I anticipate this will be clarified in the next few slides. Let's
Sure.
look. Let's continue.
Sure. Please,
Let's go.
please, Anna.
Yes. All right. So I would like to say, I'll tell you the story, like we know with this FinOps cycle, right?
Right.
So how my FinOps story started, right? And also, this is actually a very it could be relevant to anyone who is currently in the public cloud, but they
Mhm.
may not have FinOps yet, or they someone is doing some FinOps, but they're not super structured.
Okay.
So I started my FinOps experience or journey in when I used to work at Philip Morris International. So it's a large organization and a global organization. And what they did, they decided to go from on premise onto cloud.
Mhm.
And typically, what happens is just that there, but other organizations do exactly that. Or how do you move to public cloud? Right. So there is a project, there is a transformation initiative, and companies tend to, like take all their compute everything resources from on-prem and move them onto cloud, public cloud. And sometimes it's called like lift and shift. There are
Okay.
different ways companies can do this, but if you want to move fast, right, and at that time they had to, like, they didn't do any optimization, they took everything and moved onto cloud. And when the company was going through this transformation and onboarding
Mhm.
their resources into public cloud, obviously they did some estimations how much it's going to cost them, but they didn't have real time data, right? It was all estimations done on calculators. So ultimately, yes, this is what they ended up with, a really with a budget and really high cost for the public cloud. And in that at that time I was actually in a role of in IT finance. So I was looking after CTO's budget,
Mhm.
right? And of course, public cloud is was one of his expense lines. So our CFO and the company CFO was really, really concerned about the public cloud costs. And I was told to go and analyze, right? And do something about it, right? And this is where you see, like, it just was an organic shift for me on how I became a FinOps person, right?
Okay.
So what the immediate thing that happened is, of course, the fact was that, okay, the costs are going up astronomically, right? It's like, so IT team, and what is really also important. So we had a few people I was talking to, right, interviewing. So I had IT team, procurement, finance, and the business, right? And I was going and talking to them, and I was like, what is happening, right? So the IT team told me, okay, we own this bill, it's growing, and we actually was like, we haven't at the moment, we don't know what is driving the this growth, right? Maybe the budget numbers were not set up correctly, right? Maybe there's someone is using it very ineffectively, but there's like we cannot really explain. So we need to do something. And this is where, they didn't really have any tools to do that, right?
Right.
And then procurement, and in this world, remember we talked about the framework of FinOps. So procurement also is quite an influential person here,
Mhm.
because they talk to the vendor, right? And they were like, well, we would like to negotiate, but we really need to understand what is the baseline, right? How much resources you need, what is your how much you're forecasting to spend, basically, right?
Okay. So it means even though we are running it, the we're discussing the FinOps part, but ServiceNow SPM, or I can say the project strategic portfolio, will be come in the picture to make sure that project should be demand should be there, project should be raised, resourcing should be
Yes,
there, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. It's a tool, right? And exactly. So I just explaining you the situation why companies need tools, right?
Right.
So typically, the companies operate when they don't have a FinOps practice. They
Right.
operate in a slightly chaotic manner, right?
Mm.
Because there is no good setup of roles and responsibilities, right? So,
Okay.
and this is the people that typically have like stakeholders
Mm.
who will be talking about public cloud, because believe me, IT is under pressure, procurement is under pressure, because what kind of contract they sign that it costs so much to the company, right? So
Correct.
they're exposed. Finance, of course, finance is like in a state of fainting. They literally they don't know what's happening. Like
Right.
their hands are shaking because why it's so expensive, you told us it's not. And believe me, they're used to this on-premise data center structure. It's quite safe because
Mhm.
the cost, they don't fluctuate, right? They don't grow
Right.
overnight. They have their projects that they buy the hardware through the project infrastructure, they set it up and they live like this, right? So
Okay.
there's no surprises. So finance is in panic, and then the business is remember we talked about this benefits of public cloud. They're like, oh, this is great, it's so scalable, we can set it up so quickly, it's such a good service, let's use more of it, right? We like it. So
Mm.
there's like everyone, and they also like, well, we don't know how much it costs, right? We're just using it, right? So it's like this situation is not pretty, believe me, and now I'm smiling, but at the time it wasn't fun. So
Right.
so what we've done is so I got together with our CTO and CFO for IT, and we was like, okay, so we need to do something. And so as I was thinking, going like, what's the operating model, right? How do we stop, right, this, or create organized, right, structure of and start controlling costs, and what do we need to do? So I identified there are three things that needs to be done, right? The company needs to have the purpose. They will have to have the office for FinOps, and then they have to have the tool, right?
Right.
Three things. I call them a pot, right? Magic pot, right?
Okay.
So basically, and what I've observed, and then eventually, right? Some companies will have a tool and they will have an office, but
Mm.
they do not have a purpose. It doesn't work.
Right.
You may have a purpose in the office, but you do not have the tool. It will also be tricky.
Not work out. Right.
Exactly. And then you may have the tool and you have the purpose, right, to save costs, but you don't have an office. It also doesn't work. So really, really, these are the three things. I want you, when you think about FinOps structure, like this is three things I want you to
To work with.
focus
Right. Okay.
on. Now, so what we mean by the purpose, right? The purpose is essentially why we do something, right, in life, right? We want to, like you are tool, your purpose is to, provide and share knowledge to a wider community, right? So people can grow, right? And so this is your purpose. And for FinOps, what we observed when I was in Philip Morris International is that, right, we need to address the increasing costs. We at the same time with FinOps or with public cloud, we need to deliver exceptional service. This is why we chose public cloud, right? It's scalable, it's dynamic, it's cool, right? And
Mhm.
of course, we need to drive business value with our investment. So it's like, okay, so we basically invest in this cost. So what is it? What's the ROI? How it's helping us, right?
Right.
So, so what we've done is that, and here, by the way, each company is different based on the dynamics and the culture. But for our company, it was relevant to have this, to have C-level sponsorship.
Mhm.
um, and this is like because that will elevate the importance of the topic. Also, we wrote a two-page memo essentially where we listed the FinOps or public cloud alignment to the strategy, right? That the value it's bringing. And we also listed the things that we must do as an organization, like save cost, optimize resources. And also started sharing like communication with stakeholders and rewrote the business case
Okay.
of what we need to do and how much it's going to cost us, if anything, right? And so with this purpose, right, with this, we will achieve the buy-in. And as a FinOps, right, a person or the person who even IT technology, everyone in the company will be listening more, because you will give them, explain why we're doing this, right? Why we need to save cost, why it's important to run public cloud effectively. You
Mhm.
will also get commitment from everyone. Okay, we know it's official, we're doing this. And then you also have a sanity. Believe me, sometimes in such roles like IT finance or FinOps, you may feel like you're alone, and because like how you need to have with this type of direction, the purpose, you will always can refer back to why you do things, and then you have a direction. Okay, now I know the big picture why I'm doing this.
Right.
Does it make sense, guys?
Yes.
All
And
right.
to get up to this, what you want to achieve, I guess data play a very vital role, right?
Yes, it does. It does play very vital role.
Mm.
So then the second thing in the pot, right, we have is the office, right?
Right.
And what exactly are we doing? And this goes back to this FinOps framework slide, right?
Mm.
So in the office, you will be doing your strategy, you will running your setting up your governance, and
Right.
you will be, creating engagement model, right, between how you guys, who are you working with, and such. So, and you will do this. So going more into the details, right? So you will be looking at the roles and responsibilities. You will be looking at your tagging of resources. This is when we come into the data, right? Tagging at of that is provides the insights and information, right? Because we all know data quality is really key for everything we do, right? And also you start setting up KPIs and metrics like your optimization targets, because if you don't have, if something cannot be measured, right, it cannot be done. That's what is said, all right. So, and also like part of your office, you'll look into your budget and forecast and chargeback and showback initiatives. And by the way, what we mean by chargeback and showback, if you never heard this term, is basically where you have one bill for public cloud, right? And then you look at who is consuming what, and then you take that portion of resources and the cost, and you are allocating it to the consumers. So this is one of the good practices to have to build accountability, right, for the consumers, right?
Okay.
And this, so then you'll achieve your discipline, order, and collaboration, because everyone will know their place. Everyone know what they are responsible
Responsible.
for.
Right.
Yeah, race and accountable and informed.
Okay.
Any questions?
I think I'm little clear on the basics now, that how this framework has been built up and what are the purpose and office and definitely the people or the tool we are going to be use it. Would like to be go little forward now to understand a little bit more better manner.
Yes. So in
Okay,
terms of the tool, yes.
sorry, and one question which has been put up here: what maturity consideration do you consider for a first time engagement? I'm not sure that this maturity is talking from the customer perspective or the service provider perspective.
So
But
first time,
Mhm.
yeah.
Good, good.
So first time engagement, for example, it actually doesn't matter if you're, let's say, if you like Deliqua, we work with companies to optimize their and setting up FinOps and everything, right?
Mhm.
So what is done, or like when I was at Philip Morris International, right? So you do, you take your data, right? And this goes back to that, remember, donut diagram. You have inform,
Right.
operate, and inform, optimize, and operate. So you first thing you do, you look at your data, right? You take your and this is the tool can help. But yes, it's like, oh, what's my cloud spend, right? Where am I running my public cloud resources? Is it
Mhm.
AWS or maybe some Azure, right? So you start putting it all together and see, okay, this is what I'm working with, okay? And typically you would have budget, right, in the company, and then you say, yes, this is what my budget, this is what I'm spending, right? and 99% of the time it will be a a very big gap between those two, right? And this is where you start looking at you start looking at the roles and see, who can I talk to, who can I talk in the company about IT, like engineers, who can I talk about the contract, yes, who is in finance, who is struggling, right? So you just start, yeah, typically that's what I do.
So might be we need to be identify the best stakeholders so that we can get the best information from them.
Yes, and the best stakeholders, they essentially their roles and responsibilities. So the good thing is
Mhm.
that in this it doesn't change from company to
True.
company. You
Yes.
will always have the same people, same roles. What you may find sometimes in some companies, they because of their legacy, the way they are built, you may have some like fragmented roles, or like you have like roles for procurement, let's say, or like
Mhm.
engineers in one legal entity, right? You may have engineers in another legal entity, right? So it's like you may have two of engineers, or like two of IT leaders, like CTOs, right?
Right.
So you just need to think about how the company is structured. But
Okay.
go-to is your contract person, right? And the finance person and your technology person who pays for public cloud. Yes.
Got it.
Okay, the tool. So this is where the third one, right, in the pod strategy is the tool. So how are we gonna address, right? So ultimately, what you will be tasked to do, you need to, especially if you are multi-cloud. Remember, you asked, like I mentioned this earlier, because if you're multi-cloud, you'll be looking at consolidating, bringing data from various sources, right?
You're right.
And it's also you will be managing several vendors, so bringing things together, like data together, is easier if you have a tool, right?
Right.
You can do that for you. And of course you will want with it, from the tool you will want to get some transparency of your spend, resource usage, right? You will want to address your this uncontrollable, yeah, uncontrollable spend, and you want to look at the how to you can optimize resources. And also, when I was at PMI, we didn't have tool in the first place, right? So we were doing a lot of manual processes, right? And like, and this is where it's like super critical. You want to run your data and reporting in real time, as a FinOps, office. Like you will be looking at your reports daily,
Mm.
really. Then you'll be. It's good to have a product like, for example, CCM. It already comes in with a pre-built optimization recommendations. So if you don't need to reinvent the wheel, basically, the tool can do it for you, right?
Mm.
All you have to do is action that, right?
Action that.
And so basically, yes, so what you achieve is you achieve your cost optimization, you have resource optimization, and you become more productive because you'll be more automated.
Yep.
All
Got
right.
it.
So we did this, and then just looking at the time, we did that, and basically, what we with setting up FinOps office, right? You had a more governed operating like unit.
Mm-hmm.
So IT was releasing the best practice. Finance had they sorted out their financial base. They knew how to, they were receiving a good forecast, right, from stakeholders. The business, they knew that this is what they, how to act on the demand, how to act on optimizations that technology would give, right? And procurement would know what is their baseline, so they can negotiate higher discounts. So everyone start operating in a more collaborative way, and FinOps really office is the one who helped to build out the structure and the engagement model with the racing, right? And C times O, like remember, C executive, this is like sponsorship. You really need to have this to basically set it all up.
Right. So
Uh,
it means FinOps will be provide a common platform for these four different personas, I can say, to bring at one place and take a collective decision.
Yes, so basically, exactly. So FinOps will be publishing all the governance, like engagement principles.
Mhm.
FinOps will be publishing all the best practice and recommendation that come from IT, from finance. They will be like in the connecting with everyone. They will be talking to finance and business every of this role separately, and they will be promoting this like sort of the best practice and the ways of working in the community, right? They will also be doing a lot of communication, the sharing of different resources online, and so this is where basically they're quite communicative role, if I should I so should I say, and they will also be running this tool like cloud cost management, because they will be like logging in and seeing what is happening. Are we doing the correct optimization? Is everything running in smoothly? So they're like the key persona here.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so what is really, and just let's maybe talk about the cloud cost management tool, and then I will tell you about how to run financial management of public cloud. The steps, right? And there is a right order, because I'm conscious of the time. So
Yeah,
yes, FinOps tool on ServiceNow. Okay, so this is what, of course, I gave you some screenshots, but if you're interested, we can definitely look into the solution more. But yes, so the tool is really important in the in FinOps world. This pod 3 purpose, office, and the tool, because with the tool you can start looking at the saving optimizations that are automatically recommended to you. So you basically do not need to go and scan through lots of data. And believe me, the number of rows of data you have for public cloud is insane, right? And sometimes your even Excel spreadsheets will not, your computers cannot handle so much data, right? So what I really like about, like, as a FinOps analyst, right, and the person who uses needs to look at the public cloud usage, is that in cloud cost management solution, what you see when you log in, right, there is this like summary page where you can start looking at your monthly spend, right, in comparisons to the previous spend, which is super critical, because when you look at your cloud, right, you want to make sure that it's there are no anomalies, and if there are, you must act on those and check why they are. You will also be able to see your spend against the budget that is set, and this is, like, again, really critical if you're looking at your finances.
right.
And then what is, like, we're getting into this, like, insights and the out of the box in like recommendations that cloud CCM can give you. And then it can tell you, like, we see 303,000 savings that you can actually realize, right? And this is through various things like right sizing, commitments, and etc. And I'll explain to you also those. We have time.
Okay.
But basically here, you can see that as a FinOps analyst, for me, it's super critical to see my month-on-month trend of my spend, right? And I would be looking at the 12 months, like, sort of trend is something that really is used by the company, and C-level, like, and finance people like to look at this, because it tells you whether you are growing or you are you're reducing your usage. So it's really, like, useful to look at the data. And of course, you can group by service category or by other dimensions and the tags that are available in your data.
So it means by this FinOps, as I can see on the workspace, we can see by the service category, cloud service, even on the business service level, we can see.
So sure, and this is, well, of course, this is really key, because like, you always want to start analyzing data, not from, like, just account, like geeky sort of, like, my
Mhm.
services, like EC2 or C3, S3, right?
Right.
You want to look at the data from a more, like, a business cost center financial
Mhm.
level, because remember, you will be sharing this data with finance. You will
Finance.
also be sharing this data with your
C-level.
consumers, which could be your business, right? Service managers, right? So it's key that they see this. Of course, what I'm finding, for example, working with companies, is that this cost center information, and goes back to tagging. I cannot stress enough how tagging is important,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the tool CCM can, there is an option you can do tagging, like in within the tool, right? It's based on some business logics, right? So which is good. So if your data doesn't come, like source data doesn't come with tags, you can definitely start getting those tags on the within the CCM, right? But yes, still, source data tagging is key, very important.
Right, right. And tagging means to be create a different kind of a filtration or the category, right?
Yes, precisely. So, for example, yes, so anything that, like all resources that, for example, used by like email, or
Mhm.
another one is an interesting one, or like what's my environment, right? So, like what we did in PMI, for example, we built report, and by the way, it unfortunately was not CCM, it was
Mhm.
homegrown. I built it, and which could be good, but I don't recommend, because we didn't have optimization recommendation. But then we were looking at the applications, right? What and which environments they're running, right?
Okay.
And we could see like, why is my application that's been already delivered, right? Is my development environment still running, and why is it running on weekends, right?
Right.
So someone needs to go and switch it off, right? At least during weekends, because no developers working on
Got it.
weekends, or do they?
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Okay, so, and on the something that is important here to note is the on the right hand side, right, where you have recommendations and alerts, right? There's like, this is where you can start seeing like recommendations to optimize this $300,000 dollar pool. And you can, it's really cool, because of course we're on ServiceNow. You can schedule that optimization, and it can go through your tickets immediately, right?
Got it.
So that's and this is really cool. So you have it all, obviously, access on benefits of being on one platform.
Hmm.
And yes, do you have guys any questions so far?
No, I guess there's no question as of now. Might be it's too much to be grabs and put in the mind. So people can reach out to you separately as well on the LinkedIn, because looks like it's a going to be a very big thing now.
Yes, yes. And so so yes, and in also, like, what is also great to point out here, that we have the operations. It's basically my, like, I'm an admin, right? I log in here to see what can be optimized, right? So
Mhm.
where you have number one, so you see all the things that you can do to optimize your estate, public cloud, right? You can look at various initiatives like right sizing, unused resources, right? And on where you have number two, it gives you basically your estate, where you can look at the overall a potential for optimization, right? 300,000. And you can also look at how are you doing against this optimization. And yes, on the way you have three, right, category, essentially this is exactly, your the accounts, the CIs that you can optimize, right? You can even give you the like the savings, estimated savings you can achieve by switching something off or optimizing, and see, even it tells you recommendation type. So it can be, like I said, if your developer is not working on the in a dev instance, you can switch it off during weekends, right? So basically, what it gives you is this the way you can operate and action your optimizations. And this is what you cannot do this in Excel, right? And so having a FinOps tool is super key here. That's the biggest benefit.
Hmm. We have one question here, Anna, that how cloud provisioning and governance fit in within CCM.
So cloud governance is all about optimization, right? And there was, so basically you have to, cut costs and or like govern your spend, right?
Mhm.
And for example, here everything that it can be optimized must be optimized, right? Because this is the whole reason of having this roles and responsibilities, because people have to be accountable and they need to treat public cloud resources sparingly, right? And this is both financial and also we talk about environment, right? Environmental elements, right?
Okay, got it.
And it gives us this exactly view. And the third one is you again, we talked about finance fainting, and also service managers or business enjoying their resources on public cloud. So what is really good, I really like about CCM, it also gives you the status for each business unit or team or resource on where they are against the budget. And as always happens, Gen AI teams, remember I told you what is driving the cloud spend, right? Gen AI and innovation, they are one of the offenders of usage. They're spending more than they budgeted. And there are ways to, of course, go and talk to them and how you can address that. But also what is, we didn't talk about, because again, it's such a big topic, but if you're interested, we can pick it up later another time. So if your company is spending more in the areas that will bring more business to the company, or they will build a really cool platform, right? And then the company will be successful, and it will give them a competitive advantage over their peers. So of course, it's good if they're investing money or resources into something that will bring benefit. And this is where sometimes companies, or if you're quite mature in your FinOps, you start talking about cloud unit economics. Uh, if you tired, and this will make you even more tired or more information heavy, right? But essentially, cloud unit economics talks about, like, yes, this is where I spend so much money on public cloud, but then gives me so much money back, right? The revenue increase. So this is good for me.
Hmm, good. Nice. A lot of insights. Just to be highlight that we are just on more than time now. So
Yes.
yeah.
So guys, if I want to give you some advice, so I would really push on invest in FinOps as early as possible. If you do not have FinOps, you can even talk to me about how you can start simply, and it doesn't have to be a monster project to begin with. uh, Positions FinOps practice centrally, so that will help you to drive this. It's like Switzerland. You'll be in a very neutral place, and then you can also talk to everyone equally. You'll be equal, and then control marketplace purchases. Something again I didn't mention because it's so much information. But on cloud, you can buy various products, even ServiceNow. So make a note of that, and we can come back to that if you wish. Invest in tagging, super important, and train and communicate your community. I've seen people, when they put budget information, they put it in for 1 month instead of 12 months. And actually, it was a miss from FinOps team side, because people who are engineers or business service managers, they don't work with budgets very often. So we need to explain them more how to do things, right? And also keep log of actionable items, and who work with Jira or anything that needs to be optimized, right? If you need to keep on top of things, because having this 300,000 optimization recommendation in the tool, right, in CCM, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So you need to, of course, stay on top of that, and this will also help the tool to bring the ROI faster.
And I guess these are the points which a question has been put up, like maturity for the first time engagement is required. Like training is one of the biggest thing, because many projects, many tools get failed because of less training and
Yes,
no
and
idea how to be used, what the best we can get it from there.
and this is where someone asked me a question, or how do you start? So what I did here, I put like based on the, again, best practice and experience, this is how you should be planning your, at least like optimization and resource review
Mhm.
like processes, right? So you typically start with your baseline, right? Understand how much I'm spending. Then you will do all your right sizing. you will right sizing means, like, for example, if you're not using your compute fully, it's not utilized at 100% capacity, you can reduce, right, the size of your resource.
Right.
uh, Remove idle accounts. Essentially, if you're not using, you've been there, like it's sitting around, and you pay like £1,000 per month for that, why would you can switch it off, basically. And you also adjust your business hours. So, by the way, when you do this, you have to obviously instruct with architects and application owners to make sure you don't break anything, right? So it's always, you need to talk to people. And then third one is, once you optimize, then you think about, okay, this is my how much I will be saving. So I can buy discounts, and cloud allows you to buy discounts in various ways, shapes and forms.
Mhm.
Yes, so you optimize, and then you will see how much you will what is your how the future of your spend is going to look like, right? So
Right.
this is what you will be bringing to finance. And at this point also, you can talk to your procurement. Remember our orchestrated diagram. Procurement then can say, okay, now I know I'll be spending $15 million per year. Let
Mhm.
me go and talk to the vendor. Maybe they can give us a discount, right? And then that's how you build your budget. And then you will and you share this information with your business, basically. That's
Right.
like really high level and very
No,
fast.
no,
Faster.
that's definitely high level, but I'm able to relate this particular concept. In the ITIL, we have a term called the PDCA, plan, do, check, and act. But now here we can say like inform, operate, inform, optimize, operate, inform, optimize. So once you get a new budget, then you can again go back the same life cycle. You can see what I'm spending over and less, make a changes, and then get a new budget as well.
And yes, and what is really important, like you don't don't do commitments, is like, don't say, okay, this is what I'm spending,
Hmm.
and then I want a discount. Because if you tell your vendor, like, you're committing to spend 50 million without actually
Right.
optimizing, you
Optimize.
may you may push you may shoot yourself in the foot. Because essentially you are not going to be able to do any optimization. Because once you commit to spend so much money with the vendor, you must, right, regardless of have you used these resources or not. So you have to make sure that you apply the right order of operations here.
Nice. A great insight, I can say, Anna.
Guys, I think I've how are you still alive there?
Yes, at least me. And I have got an update from Anish as well. He's also there, and Ivan also there. And thank you so much. People are saying thanks to you for such a beautiful discussions and updates on the FinOps perspective, Anna.
Yes, guys, and as always, am I still sharing? Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As always, guys, please reach out. It's a tricky one. I'd like to talk to you also what you are experiencing with FinOps, because for me it's also interesting for my even research, right? And what to focus on, what the customers or companies are doing or not doing, and this will shape what we are doing here at Dilico. And yes, let me know if you're interested in learning more with CCM as well,
Right.
because yeah,
Yep.
even ServiceNow, I talk to ServiceNow and they're quite interested in FinOps practice and as
So,
a
so
as this.
are you going to be open Anna training center on the FinOps?
Well, yes, I think that can definitely happen, and because there is, as you saw, this diagram, it's great, but
Mhm.
it's like, where do I begin, right? And this is
Right.
where this is what I've been working with companies that they don't know where to begin or
Right.
how
And
to.
Anish put one question: CCM interface with SAM module on the item. I guess yes. This is what we discussed last week as well, right?
Yes, it's item. It's intersects with item. It's also with some and it ham everything, and it also intersects with the ESG. And the like so because yeah, it's a huge topic, right? We didn't talk about it. Yeah, but this is like resources. So you have, and this is our vision actually. We in Deliqua we look at costs right? But energy and efficiency is another one that's coming in really hard. So like helping companies to optimize their resources, basically money and energy. Yes.
Right. So not question to you now. Let me come back to the audience. What do you think? Shall I get again Anna for the next week for another interesting session? I'm sure Zeri will be say yes without fail. And I'll definitely I have some more plans to be discussed with Anna to be get again back on the podcast with some another interesting sessions. But for today, let's close the session here only. Before we close, let's take a few seconds pause. Thanks to the God, because we discussed a lot in the last 1 hour, a lot of information, a lot of education, a lot of learning we got from you, Anna. So let's thanks to the God, and then we'll find formally close the session.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start from the audience side. Thank you so much, Jerry. Thank you so much, Dheeraj, Anish, Ivan, Ishan, and few more which I just found the LinkedIn username only, not the actual name. So thank you so much for joining this session with me to learn on the FinOps perspective. And again, Anna, thank you so much coming up on the podcast Saturday morning and giving your knowledge, brilliant knowledge. I can say it's not only knowledge, it will be a brilliant knowledge which you're giving to us, more insights. And once again, thank you so much.
I want to thank you, Atul, and the audience. Thank you guys for your support and passion to learn more. Have
Yes.
a lovely weekend. Oh,
Sure. We'll connect again on the next week. Hopefully, it will be again with Anna. But let me check with plan and Anna's plan for the next week, and we'll update you on that particular part.
all right.
Thank you so much,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Bye bye. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.